So, a true New Yorker in both spirit and personality, Nancy Tegan Vandenborn, lover of everything beautiful in this world, shared her enthusiasm for life with us for 89 years. Imagine this, she was only 37 when the Knicks last won the NBA title. We all know Nancy was a great friend and the life of the party. She certainly had a full and unique personality. She was no shrinking violet and had an opinion on literally everything. At her heart, Nancy was a true artist. Whether it was fashion, food, or simply throwing a good party, Nancy saw the beauty in life and showed it to us in her own creative way. Life itself was her medium. But Nancy was no egomaniac working along to perfect her craft and bask in the adulation of her work. More important to her was being an active member of a family. Nancy's family were very much her friends, and her friends were very much her family. So when I say friends or family, I really mean those words interchangeably. A person of faith who believed that we are all part of something vastly larger than ourselves, I believe Nancy felt that belonging in a family was the essential link to a happy life and the greater universe. Throughout her life, Nancy worked very hard on building and maintaining these relationships. As a testament to that, Susie Forsman, who has known Nancy since they were 3 years old, is here with us today. In fact, Nancy, and many of you may have heard this story, Nancy was so good at making and maintaining friendships that she once befriended a dead man who she had never met. Because she coincidentally showed up at the Frank E. Campbell Funeral Home in New York City, looking to use the ladies' room during a service for this man, she ended up inheriting money from the gentleman's estate simply because he had left money in his will to anybody who showed up at his funeral. This could only have happened to Nancy. Of course, Ingrid and Christina know how much Nancy would do to keep her family together. When Ingrid tried to move 2,100 miles away from New York to Sun Valley, Nancy eventually followed and then lured Christina here. It is a family that has brought us here together today. I learned a lot from Nancy, but I took away at least 3 important things about being a part of a family from her. First, take responsibility for your family. In the early 1960s, as was common at the time, Nancy gave up her career at Glamour magazine to start her family. When her husband Andre passed away unexpectedly at 46 years old, Nancy became a single mother to Christina and Ingrid. In order to support her family, she re-entered the workforce as an assistant designer to the dress designer Bill Smith, and then started a successful formal dress business from the living room of her home in Bronxville. In 1985, Nancy updated the vintage wedding dress that my wife Catherine wore at our wedding. She also designed the bridesmaids' dresses. You'll see a picture of those in this album over here to the side. But for those of you who are at our wedding, you might remember those dresses. But because of the wild party our wedding turned into, I'm pretty sure most of you have no recollection. Ultimately, Nancy helped Vera Wang launch her flagship bridal shop on Madison Avenue, coincidentally next door to the luxurious Carlisle Hotel and Nancy's old stomping grounds at Cafe Carlisle and Bevelman's Bar. I'm so very proud of Nancy for accepting what life dealt her, taking responsibility for her family, and working hard and endlessly to support Ingrid and Christina. It could not have been easy. Second thing I learned from Nancy, give without the expectation of getting anything in return. When I first moved to New York City, right out of college, I shared an amazing apartment in Greenwich Village with Christina, who was studying at NYU. When we lost our apartment because we were illegally subletting it, Nancy insisted I stay in Bronxville until I could find a new place. She had no idea how long I'd stay, and it would have been very easy for her to say she didn't have enough room. In fact, I slept on the sofa in the living room, which was also the fitting room for Nancy's dress business. This arrangement could not have been convenient or comfortable for Nancy, Christina, or Ingrid, but Nancy graciously opened her home to me when I had nothing. I'm forever grateful for her generosity. Third, actively participate in that family. And Nancy was superlative in this way. Being part of a family takes work. It takes work to maintain relationships. I'm guilty of thinking I'm too busy or I don't want to bother anyone with a random phone call just to say hi. But Nancy was a great communicator who weaved the fabric of our family together through her actions. She'd send handwritten notes and make actual phone calls at anniversaries, birthdays, and other events, or simply when she was thinking about you. Her written notes often included an old photo of one of our relatives or a more recent picture of Nancy scarfing down an extra large ice cream cone. There's also plenty of pictures of that up on here. A little bit of effort made the receiver of those phone calls clearly feel noted and loved, but it does take effort. Last year, during one of those conversations with Nancy, she asked if I had spoken to my Uncle Tom, her older brother, and my father's twin brother. I hadn't spoken to Tom since he gave a memorable eulogy for my father about 10 years ago. She urged me to call Tom. Well, she didn't urge me, she told me. When I called and heard Tom's familiar voice, I was instantly transported back to my 1960s childhood and to my Uncle Bob's backyard, where Tom arrived bearing cases of candy from his work at Fleer Candy Company, including Razzles and Double Bubble Gum. Just sugary, memorable joy for a little boy at the time. By the way, Tom celebrates his 99th birthday next week. So here's a big happy birthday to Tom from all of us in Sun Valley.
Yay.
As her final act of generosity, Nancy has brought her family together again today. While she is with us in spirit, I only wish she was physically here. The party would be so much more fun. And before I pass the microphone to Anna, I'd just like to offer a quick prayer for Nancy, my own little prayer. But if she was with us today, she'd actually want it to be called a toast, I'm sure. So Nancy, you are an amazing mother, grandmother, daughter, wife, sister, aunt, niece, cousin, and friend. You graced our lives with the enthusiasm and artistry of someone who simply enjoyed living life to the fullest. Thank you for showing us that love and being amongst family and friends, or showing us that love and being amongst family and friends is the most important part of living. We will miss you, Nancy. Thank you. And now let me introduce